Right, hello everyone and welcome to APPF1 at Tier 2. We're back for more racing here in Texas in the US of A. It's 12 drivers on the grid today, should be up to 13 as Jonathan is joining during qualifying. Let's get all of this enabled. Okay. So, let's wait for everyone to get out. A very, very difficult track, this one. Unfortunately, by the way, Sumo is not here today, so it's just me on the comms. But I've also got to keep relatively quiet because we have a new dog who's going to go absolutely insane if I'm too loud, which is annoying, but it is what it is. And I'm sure we're going to have a great race here in Texas. We've got the home hero, RJ Blair, in the AlphaTauri reserving today with no racing line. Hopefully he has a good one, but this is a very, very difficult track. I should know, I crashed out here last Friday, took my 25-point championship lead in Tier 1 all the way down to 4 points, which was not ideal with 2 rounds to go, but it is what it is. But it shows that this is a very tricky circuit. There's a lot of corners where it can just go completely wrong, even though you feel like you did it the same way. And you'll just lose a couple tenths and you just wonder where they went. And it can also be tough for traction on the exit of some corners, especially this one, because of the camber on the exit. It's very difficult to get the power down, as RJ proves with a bit of wheel spin on the exit there. But let's take you through the championship standings briefly. So, Tier is leading the standings with 85 points, with Lawrence in P2 on 83 points and Crozer on 83 points as well, and then Jonathan on 73 points with 3 rounds to go. Jonathan very much in this title fight after joining a few races into the season, but Tier leading the championship once more after losing the championship lead to Crozer for a few rounds, but after Crozer's dramatic DNF last week in Singapore, Tier is now leading the standings once again. I'm going to ride on board with Palang on his lap, I think. Actually, no, the home hero, RJ. Let's see how he does with no racing line. So he's coming. He's finished Sector 1 through Sector 2. He comes now. Again, this is a corner where it's very tricky to get the traction out, and it's also tricky to get the car turned, as RJ proves, especially with no racing line. DRS open all the way down this long straight. We're going to see a lot of overtakes around here tonight. Tito has left the session and it's disqualified him, which is the classic bug. So he's going to start from last, unfortunately. RJ through Sector 2 now. Again, another tricky corner. You've got to really wait very long time to get the power down. And now this one again, is he going to make the corner this time? He does indeed, and he exits in 3rd gear very nicely. Now hug the inside on through here as best you can, otherwise you'll lose at least a tenth. I think RJ probably lost about half a tenth there through that completely blind corner with no line. Very difficult. And around the final corner comes RJ, misses the apex, but it's a first effort, and it's a 34.5, which is not actually that bad for a first effort with no racing line. That's pretty good from RJ. Palang is out of the session as I just ride on board with him out the final corner. He has binned it, so he'll be starting from last place. Lawrence goes into P1, 34.5, just 26 thousandths of a second faster than his American compatriot. Mr. J-Man, again, only 68 thousandths behind Lawrence, wasted 7.5 tenths down on 3 of them though, but those top 3 very, very close for now, and I'm sure those times are going to come down very quickly. And there goes Muhiti with a 34.3, about 2 tenths ahead. Rutty Boy has invalidated his first attempt as JB comes through the final sector now, penultimate corner. Blind with no line, but with the line it's a lot easier. Through the final corner comes JB. The British driver coming across, and Crozer goes to pole now at 34.2. JB beats him at 34.1. Great effort from the Red Bull pair. 1-2 for them for now, but Jonathan, he's coming to the end of Sector 2 now. I think he's going to smash those times. Robsu as well, he's invalidated for now, but I'm sure he's got a lot of pace in that Aston Martin. Tier's invalidated as well. Rutty Boy invalidated earlier, so it's all about Jonathan at the moment. Coming through the final sector is the Ferrari driver. Tito's back in, but unfortunately the game has DNF'd him, as he will find out. But here comes Jonathan through the final few corners in his Ferrari. By how much is he going to beat that time from JBS Steve? Through the final corner comes Jonathan. Oh, he doesn't beat it. 0.006 of a second between the two of them. Wow. That is a fantastic opening lap from JB. It remains on pole position. Two Aston Martins invalidated their first effort, so Tier's going to have to go again, as is Robsu. He's not gone in the pits, so he's gone again on the same set of tyres. He's got Rutty Boy just behind him, also going again. So this could be a problem if Rutty Boy is faster than Robsu. He's certainly going to get some dirty air from the Aston Martin through Sector 1. It's not ideal, this. I'm not sure why Rutty Boy started his lap so close to that Aston Martin. It's a mistake on his part, I think. But he's coming through Sector 1 and he's invalidated straight away again, unfortunately for him. Tier and Robsu still on their laps though. Tier coming through Sector 2 now. JB still only 6 thousandths ahead. Jonathan is 3.5 tenths up in Sector 1, but he's invalidated. So he's not going to improve on this attempt, and he's going to have to go again. Two Aston Martins still on their laps coming through now. Tier through Sector 2. Coming to the end of it now. Around this corner and to the sector line, it is a 103.8. His teammate just behind. Let's compare, and Rutty Boy as well just behind, but he's invalidated as well, so he will now definitely not get in the way of Robsu's lap. Robsu about a tenth faster than Tier through Sector 2. So can Tier gain any of that time back? The championship leader coming through the final few corners now in his Aston Martin. Round he comes to the final corner. Is he going to hit the apex? Yes, he does. And on the exit, DRS open, 34.7 puts him down in P8. It's very, very close out there. These times, I mean, Tier can gain 4 tenths and jump up to third. So hugely close. Robsu lost a lot of time in the final sector, and he's down in P9. So it's not a good first outing for the two Aston Martins. Let's have a look at the constructors. Red Bull lead with 139 points, with Aston Martin on 127, so only 12 points down at the Astons on the Red Bulls. But at the moment, Red Bull 1 and 3, Aston Martin 8 and 9, so they're going to have to find a lot more pace in these next few laps. Lawrence on an outlap. I'm sure these times are going to come tumbling down, especially Jonathan. I know he has improvement in him. He's 3.5 tenths up in Sector 1 on that lap that he invalidated. And he can't have gained that much just by invalidating, you would have thought. I do apologise for all the barking. That is the new dog. There's not really very much I can do about it. But... and that's the other dog, that's not the new dog. So they're both barking now, I'm afraid. Again, there's absolutely nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. But Lawrence about to start his next effort. RJ started his already as well, the American, looking to do better, but P6 on his first effort with no line. That is not bad at all from RJ. Tito's asking for another invite, so let me do that quickly. Okay. Lawrence through Sector 1, 4.5 tenths up in that Mercedes. There's so much time to gain in that first sector at the moment. The British driver coming to the next part of the track. Tito's back in, but obviously he's... Lawrence comes around the corner onto the large, long DRS straight. Here he comes, DRS open, 55% ERS, plenty left in the battery for the rest of the lap. and towards this tight left-hander now. All the dogs are barking. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen throughout the stream, so I do apologise. But Lawrence, a tenth and a half down. He's lost half a second in one sector. That is a huge shame for him after a fantastic first sector. But yeah, that's not ideal. RJ, though, he's invalidated, so he's coming back into the pits. Muhiti through sector 1 was about 200ths down, so he's going to have to find some time. Mr. J-Man, though, a tenth and a half up in sector 1, so he's improving. What about Wasted? 2.5 tenths up through sector 2. He's coming to the final sector now. Jonathan and the two Red Bulls also on laps. So got to keep an eye on everyone here. Wasted in his Alpine, looking for a good result this week after 2 DNFs in a row. Very unfortunate for him. But around the final corner, nearly meets the same fate as Palang, but improves by half a second. Doesn't improve his position, but gets a lot closer to the pack. So that will at least gain him confidence when he does look at the timing sheets, because he's not that far off at all. But everyone looking so close. The Tier 1 quali on Friday was the closest Tier 1 quali I've ever seen. It was 10 drivers within 3 tenths. It was absolutely incredible. Muhiti moves to P2, 1,000th of a second behind JB. Mr. J-Man, can he do any better? To the line at 34.2. He's 300ths off. It's looking exactly the same as Tier 1 was. Insanely close between everyone. JB 1.5 tenths up through sector 1 though in his Red Bull. Jonathan half a second up in his Ferrari. Look how close these times are, but I think Jonathan's going to blow them all out the water here. Mr. J-Man obviously not on a lap. Crozer improving by a tenth through sector 2, but no one is matching Jonathan at the moment. That Ferrari looking so strong, half a second up again through sector 2. So it didn't improve much in sector 2, but it was sector 1 where he gained everything. And we saw that on his last lap where he invalidated as well. Muhiti is invalidated. JB coming to the line now in his Red Bull. He's going to improve on his pole time. No, he's not. He's going to pin it into the wall. He's very, very lucky to not meet the same fate as Palang there. He's still in the session, but he's going to have to go quick to get round again. Jonathan to the line, 33.4, and no one is beating that. That is outrageously far ahead. Jonathan, I think that is a pole position secured for the Ferrari driver, and he's going to take some beating today, I think. Crozer on another lap in his Red Bull. Through sector 1 he comes. He's 2.5 seconds down, so he's not improving. Rutty Boy not improving either, but he has improved to P6, I've just noticed, so a good lap from him. But yeah, everyone very close except for Jonathan, who I think is going to take a swift trip to Tier 1 next season, most likely, given these qualifying times and how he's pretty much destroyed everyone in races this season. Obviously too late to move him now, but yeah, I think he's going to make a swift trip to Tier 1 for next season, because that is quite the time from Jonathan. He's in that sort of grey area really, where he's sort of near the back of Tier 1 but destroys all of Tier 2, which is a shame for him, but it is what it is in APP. Rutty Boy not on a lap. Tier improves to P2. What a lap from the championship leader. Exactly what he needed. He is on the front row in his Aston Martin. Half a second down on Jonathan, but 2.5 tenths ahead of JB. That is a huge lap time from Tier. What about Robsu? Is he improving? He's coming to the end of sector 2 now. He was not improving through the first sector. RJ as well on the same part of his lap. Here comes Robsu in his Aston Martin. Is he improving? 5 tenths up in his Aston, and this is looking like he could get himself onto the second row up with his teammate. And the Aston Martin's now back in this quali session, but he's gone very deep at that corner. That's going to cost him a huge amount of time, and yeah, that's going to be extremely costly for the Finnish driver. Could see him more like P6 or 7. That was a really big mistake. Around the final corner he comes. What's it going to be from Robsu? A 34.1. It's still good enough for P3, even with that mistake. But is there enough time for him to improve again? Not really. There's only 3.5 minutes left in the session. But it is an Aston Martin 2-3. It's a dream for them. With Red Bull now 4 and 7. How quickly this quali session has changed. With 3 minutes to go now, what else can change in the session? Can the two Astons get round again for another lap? I don't think Robsu can, but Tia, I don't think he can either. How much time is left? We can't see at the moment as he gets out of the way of the Williams. Or does he get out of the way of Williams? Yeah, just about in time. But wait until that yellow flag goes and we'll be able to see how long is left. Peeling into the pits, 2.5 minutes. I don't think there's enough time for Tia. It's going to be very, very close. There's definitely not enough time for Robsu unless he goes round again. But it would be quite the feat to improve with a third one on those softs. It would be. Muhiti's improving by 1.5 tenths. Oh, sorry, no, he's just started his next lap. So here comes Muhiti through this twisty, windy Sector 1. But he's not improving, and in fact, he's not even spending ERS. You can see by the flashing red light, so he's not looking to improve. He's going for a second outlap here as the Williams driver, which is an odd decision. But I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Crozer on his outlap at the moment. Is Tia going to have enough time? He's just heading out the pits. No, Robsu's coming into the pits. But Robsu's going to delay Tia here. And that, I think, is going to be the end of the Aston Martin's quali session. Yeah, it is. Neither of them are going to come out in time for another lap. Jonathan's out in time just about, I think. It's going to be very close, but I think he's just about got enough time to get round again. So he will likely be the last one to set a lap, and he'll be looking to improve even further on that 33.4. But plenty of improvement to come as Lawrence proves it. Up to P2 goes the Mercedes reserve driver. 2.5 tenths down on Jonathan. He's not got time to go again, but he'll be happy with that at least. With that improvement. But look how close all these times are wasted as well. I'm sure he's going to improve too. He's just started his final run of the session. He's not far down at all. So if he can find a few tenths, he'll be right up back with the pack. Lawrence retires from the session. It looks like he's crashed on his in-lap, which is quite the achievement. It takes effort to do that. JB's just starting his next lap as well. Hello, Rick, in the chat. Good to see you here. Muhiti, 1.5 tenths up in Sector 1, but he's going to have to find a lot more than that in the next 2/3 of his lap in order to improve. Jonathan is on a tight schedule here. He's right behind Mr. J-Man, who's also on an outlap, so he can't stay too close to the Williams. 10 seconds to go. Is there enough time for Jonathan? He's going to end up hitting the back of Mr. J-Man here. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to improve because he's definitely faster than the Williams. It's just about gone, the timer. Rotty Boy started his lap as well. He's right behind the Ferrari too. It's 3 cars all starting their laps right behind each other. And this could be very dangerous here, especially for the Mr. J-Man, who's the lead car of the 3. But JB coming in through Sector 2 is 1.5 tenths up through Sector 1. Muhiti 2.5 tenths up through Sector 2. He's going to come to the line first of those that are on their runs. The Astons are done. They haven't been able to come out again for another lap. Muhiti with a huge slide out the penultimate corner. How much time is that going to cost him as he comes to the line? 33.8. It's up to 3rd for Muhiti. A great lap from the Williams driver. What about JB? He's only 10 thousandths of a second up in the second sector. He's going to have to find a huge amount of time in this final sector to challenge, and around the final corner that looked very deep, and yeah, he only finds 19 thousandths. It's good enough for P6 only. Mr. J-Man's invalidated. Crozer looking to improve as well. He's 2.5 tenths up through Sector 2. What can he do through the final few corners? The British driver, who was the championship leader before last week, up to P5, just behind his one of his main rivals in Tia. Mr. J-Man's invalidated. Rotty Boy's invalidated. RJ coming to the line as well. But it's going to be Jonathan first. Down towards the line comes the Ferrari driver. Is it going to be more improvement? Yes, a 33.1. And that just seals the deal for Jonathan. pole by a huge margin, but everyone else very, very close. RJ not improving, so that is the end of a thrilling quali session. But Tier and Crozer right next to each other on the grid, 4th and 5th. Robsu down in 6th. But crazy how much it's changed, because the Astons were 2 and 3 before those final runs, and now they're 4 and 6. So a big changes at the end of that session. But it's the Irish driver Jonathan who takes pole in his quest to win this title. With Lawrence just behind in P2, about half, well, I say just behind, he's half a second down, which is quite the monumental gap. Muhiti in P3 for Williams, great lap from him. Tier in P4, the championship leader, looking to not lose too many points to Jonathan. I think that's going to be the key. Crozer in P5, Robsu in 6th, JB in P7 in the end, after it looked like he would be have a good chance for pole. He's down in 7th after it's all said and done. Mr. J-Man in P8, Rutty Boy P9, RJ in P10. Wasted couldn't quite improve at the end, so he's P11. And then Tito, unfortunately disconnecting, and Palang binning it at the final corner. They'll start from the back of the grid. Looks overcast. Don't know if that means it's going to rain or not, but network issues for Tito, that is a big shame. It would have been great to see you racing, but yeah, that's unfortunate. And it also means your car is going to be driving around as a ghost for the entire race at a snail's pace, which is also a shame. But is what it is. As everyone gets ready with their strategies to start this Grand Prix. Any predictions in the chat for the podium? I would love to hear them. But I think it would be a fool who would predict anyone but Jonathan to win this race. Pole by half a second from Lawrence. There's nothing to be sniffed at. I think, yeah, like I said, I think he's on a one-way trip to Tier 1 next season. But here we go. Jonathan Robsu Crozer, says Rick, but here we go. 3, 4, 5, red lights. And we're underway for the American Grand Prix. It's a great start from Lawrence at the front, as he's going to go down the inside of Jonathan into turn 1. Goes the Mercedes. Muhiti's there as well down the inside. There's a bit of contact in the midfield as everyone piles through. There's a Red Bull very wide, but Lawrence leads the Grand Prix. Tears up to P2 from turn 1. A great start for the Aston, the championship leader as well. Everyone piling through side by side, everyone through the S's. Incredible racing. Robsu getting past Jonathan as well. Jonathan down to P4 as the Aston Martins go into 2-3. What a start from the cars in British Racing Green. Tier up 2, Robsu up 3. Incredible stuff from them. And Tier's looking to challenge Lawrence here. Nearly hits the back of the Mercedes into that corner. Very, very close as Lawrence gets a bit of wheel spin on the exit. And here comes Tier again. He's got the slipstream. He's going to go down the inside of the Mercedes. Look at that straight line speed on the Aston. Tier that leads the Grand Prix. Jonathan's now under pressure from Muhiti as well as the Williams goes down the inside. Crozer going down the inside of the other Williams as well. There's 3 wide down towards the next corner, nearly 4 wide as Jonathan's shipping positions all over the place after that dominant pole position. It's all going wrong here. He's going to lose another few positions. It's 3 wide. Jonathan's round in his Ferrari. It was 3 wide. There was not much anyone could have done about that. That's a classic racing incident. But Jonathan is down to P13, down 12 positions, and I guess I'm the fool because I have cursed him well and truly. Down to last place. He goes 5 seconds behind the pack. Tier with the fastest lap at the front, and he's pulling away from Lawrence. Where has this pace come from Tier? Incredible stuff from him, this is. Robsu down the inside of the Mercedes as well. There's contact as they go through. Robsu gets up to P2, and it's an Aston Martin 1-2 in their quest to take the constructors away from Red Bull. It's a disaster story for Red Bull as Kroeser's still in P5, JB down to P8. Robsu's still under pressure from Lawrence, though. Round the outside goes the Mercedes at that corner. Incredible racing. Lawrence back up to P2. Fantastic stuff from the both of them. The Finnish driver back down to third. This is absolutely outrageously good racing. Kroeser trying to get through. Rutty Boy getting past JB in the background as well. There's contact as Kroeser hits the back of Muhiti, and that could be a penalty in the steward's room. Palang's round again in his Haas. He's going to drop all the way down. Mr. J-Man going past Kroeser. Look at this, it's going to be 3 wide again into the next corner. No, it's not. RJ gets through in his AlphaTauri. Brilliant stuff from the American in his home race. Lawrence and Robsu swapping places again as well, but Lawrence keeps P2 for now. Incredible racing to start off this Grand Prix. Muhiti getting back past JB as well in the background. They're side by side. There's Scott in the chat saying Muhiti getting hit from behind. Yeah. After what happened to him in Singapore, he's going to feel a bit vindicated by that one. But Muhiti is back past JB. Rutty Boy looking to get past Kroeser as well, who's looking to challenge, but Tier sets another fastest lap at the front of the grid. He's 2 seconds ahead of Lawrence. Incredible stuff from Tier, the championship leader, looking to extend his lead here with one of their main rivals in Jonathan all the way down in last place. He's about to overtake Palang though, and the AI of Tito Man, of course, as well. Kroeser down in P6 looking to make a move on Mr. J-Man, but he's going to come under pressure from Rutty Boy in the meantime as they go through the S's. Rear nose to tail. Rutty Boy losing a bit of time through there. This is a lovely helicopter shot. This is great. Wish there was more of these shots in spectator mode. I wish they came out more often. But Tier with a 2-second lead at the front. Palang and Tito Man swapping places. Yeah, that's the AI of Tito Man as Jonathan now looks to get past the Haas of Palang through to the next corner. But he's going to have to wait for the DRS pass, I think. And Palang's not going to be able to do too much about it. Jonathan on his recovery charge up the grid. Do not count him out yet. A safety car would bring him straight back into it, especially as I'm certain he's going to gain plenty of positions over the next dozen laps or so wasted already, falling back well away from the pack. 3 seconds down on JB. Huge moment for Lawrence on the exit of that corner. Just extends Tier's lead, but Robsu can't quite get past. It's still an Aston Martin 1-3 though, as RJ's under pressure from the Williams of Mr. J-Man. Now, the Belgian driver trying to find a way past the American at his home Grand Prix, but Mr. J-Man unable to do any. Hits the back of the AlphaTauri. There's contact, and there's a lack of front wing end plate for the Belgian driver, and now he's going to be under pressure from Kroeser. The former championship leader goes down the inside, and Mr. J-Man is going to be very wide here, I'm sure, with that broken end plate. Bit of contact further behind between Rutty Boy and Muhiti as well, but Mr. J-Man going to drop all the way down. He's only got himself to blame for this. Unfortunately, a bit of lag there as well. That's odd. But Rutty Boy trying to find a way past the stricken Williams, as is everyone else. Is surely going to let his teammate through. He doesn't. And there's contact between the two Williams. Drama at the Williams team. Muhiti contact with Mr. J-Man, who's got a broken front wing, and his afternoon is going to go from bad to worse, unfortunately, and he's going to be pitting and all the way to the back of the grid. Jonathan still unable to get past Palang. This is very surprising. I thought he'd be straight past at the straight, but Robsu getting straight past Lawrence at the straight up to P2. He goes, and Kroeser down the inside of RJ as well for P4. He's looking to recover and try and challenge Tier, but Tier with a 2.8 second lead, and RJ back down the inside again. Kroeser leaves him the room. Very respectful racing, but RJ's back through. Kroeser's got the inside line. There's contact as they go through this next corner. There's more contact. Palang's round at the back as well. And that's finally releases Jonathan to go after Mr. J-Man and wasted. But Kroeser down the inside and gets the move done on the AlphaTauri. And now he's got 3 seconds to chase after the two ahead of him. But RJ definitely not going to leave him alone. The American driver excelling at this circuit once again. He loves this track when no one else really does. Lawrence now down the inside of the Aston Martin. Again, a bit of a wiggle from the Mercedes driver as he goes through. And on the exit as well from both of them. And Lawrence uses that opportunity and gets back past for P2, but look at this tier, 3.6 seconds ahead of them. Incredible driving from the British driver. The championship leader will be praying that there's no safety car in this race now, because a safety car would absolutely ruin it for him. They all go through sector 1. RJ still sticking behind Crozer, but he's lost quite a lot of time in that first sector as Rutty Boy gets the first track limits penalty of the evening. He's down in P7 at the moment, looking to challenge Muhiti for 6th. But that 3 seconds going to haunt him, and there's going to be plenty more where that came from, I'm sure. Time penalties could well decide this one, and someone who's got to be careful of that is Tier, because Tier is no stranger to track limits penalties. He gets them all the time, and well, he's got a 3.5 second lead, so at the moment it wouldn't matter, but of course a late safety car would completely ruin it for him, so he's got to keep it clean even with this huge lead that he's got. Lawrence stays ahead of Robsu for now, and one of Tier's kids must have the controllers, as Scott, not showing any faith in his abilities, goes quiet please. Okay, I won't talk about Tier anymore. I won't talk about the race leader anymore. But as they all go through on lap 6, 3.7 seconds to the front. Robsu still just about within DRS of Lawrence, but look at this, Crozer's caught up. It's now only within 1.7 seconds or so. And the Red Bull driver going to look to solidify his place on this podium. 1.7 seconds is the gap. We'll see if that comes down any further. I mentioned him as the leader. Okay, I will do. JB just behind Rutty Boy in the meantime, looking for find a way past this Alpine. There's no DRS in front for Rutty Boy. He's fallen off the back of Muhiti. Maybe a mistake from the Alpine driver, as they all go through with different lines through there. But JB with Rutty Boy very squirrely on the exit. And JB right behind him. Nearly goes into the back of him in the braking zone, and that's going to cost him on the exit. But he's still not that far behind. Is the DRS going to see him back past as Muhiti gets past RJ just in front up to P5? Is JB going to make the move? He's going to look to the inside, but he's not going to make the move. Stays behind the Alpine driver, and JB has to live to fight another day for now. And all this fighting is bringing Wasted back into the race as well as this man at Jonathan. It's like you can hear the Imperial March as he closes that gap. 3.4 seconds to Wasted, but a long way to go still. Lap 6 of 28. Mr. J-Man all the way at the back, 16 seconds behind after having to pit for repairs. Let's just check that he did actually get his front wing repaired, because sometimes the game doesn't do that, which is irritating when it happens, but sometimes it does happen, and I wish we would get a different camera angle so we could see. Here comes the Williams driver, JB getting past Rutty Boy ahead. We still haven't got a different camera angle, so I'm going to cut to them as Rutty Boy back down the inside, but goes deep and very squirrely on the exit. That was very well held from the Alpine driver, it has to be said. Brilliant bit of control from him, but he's now out of DRS range of JB as a result, and he's going to have to try and get back in. Mr. J-Man has repaired his front wing, so that's good news for him. Lawrence closing to 3.2 seconds to the leader now. That gap's come down quite a bit as Robsu's now too far back on the Mercedes to challenge him. Just about within DRS range, but it's very close. Robsu's struggling now as Lawrence once again, he's always done this in Tier 2. He starts off slow and then gets faster as the race progresses, and he gets more comfortable with the circuit with no line. But Robsu just gained 0.6 on the straight there with the DRS. Incredible. One race for the next year. Oh, excellent. That's good to know. So Rick will be with us on circuit for a lot more consistently from now on, it sounds like. Wasted right behind Rutty Boy, though. The two Alpines looking to do battle here, but Jonathan's right behind them. Muhiti's crashed. Muhiti's binned it in the long right-hander, and that's a VSC that he's caused as a result. So everyone's going to slow down. Muhiti is going to have to pit for a new front wing. It's not a full safety car, it's just a virtual. So Muhiti is going to have to come in, get that wing change. But a few drivers coming in, taking that opportunity to come in for the hard tyres under the Delta. Jonathan in as well for the hards to the end of the race. Rutty Boy in for hards, JB in for hards. So they're all taking that opportunity. Let's have a look at tyres. Yes, good idea. Tier on the mediums. All the top four on the mediums. RJ started on the softs, so he's going to have to see if he can make it. But yeah, good move, I think, from all those drivers who pitted. Disaster for Mr. J, man, who's now, well, not gained anything from that virtual safety car. He's lost a lot of time because everyone else has been able to pit, including his teammate. It's now a Williams 12-13. In this 13 car race. It's not looking good for them. They need a safety car now to get back in this race. Unfortunately for them, I do apologise for all the parking, not much I can do about it. DRS enabled once again. Jonathan 3 seconds behind Rutty Boy, and Lawrence has closed that gap to 2.7 to the race leader. Let's back up to 2.9 through that corner, but clearly a bit of time gained under the VSC for the Mercedes driver. And in fact, he's gained enough time to drop Robsu out of that 1 second range, and he's going to need to fight hard to get back in it. Gained a lot of time through that corner as JB gets past Palang for P7 further back on his fresh, hard tyres. Good move from the Red Bull driver. Started on the hards as well. RJ surely will be coming in soon for the hard tyres. But he's staying out for now. A little bit of a wiggle as he goes up to the final corner. Robsu with no DRS. No, he does have the DRS, just about. I don't know how he got it, but he did have it down towards turn 1. But now he's got to stay with Lawrence through sector 1, and that's easier said than done for the Finnish driver in order to stay in that DRS. And Lawrence has closed the gap to 2.4 now. So the race leader making some mistakes in these early stages now after that huge lead he took early on. Crows are looking to catch up as well, but he's 2.4 behind Robsu. Is he within DRS as they go past the detection point? No, he's 1.2, 1.3 behind as Lawrence really puts his foot down now to catch up to the race leader. RJ still going on those softs, Wasted still going on those hards, but JB looking good. He's already dropped Palang by 2 seconds on those fresh hards. He's really enjoying those fresh tyres on that Red Bull. As Rutty Boy looking to do the same in his Alpine. Palang a little bit squirrely on the exit there, but Rutty Boy sensible. No, he's not sensible. He's hit the back of the Haas. Palang is round, and well, that's a big error from Rutty Boy. That's a very unfair 10-second time penalty for Palang as well. But that's very careless, I have to say, from Rutty Boy. So Palang round as a result. Contact between the two. Jonathan now within 1.5 seconds of his friend in the Alpine. The two of them joined very similar times to each other, and they were talking about phoning each other, so I assume they know each other well. Jonathan already within that DRS range, and I think he will be passing the Alpine for P8 fairly shortly. At lap 10 of 28, we're not even halfway through yet, as they all file through down towards turn 1. That gap at the front down to 2 seconds as JB proves how good those fresh hards are. He set the fastest lap. Lawrence sets the Jonathan sets the fastest lap just behind him as well. So those fresh hards really looking good at this stage. And well, those at the front who didn't get to pit might be in a bit of trouble here, as the VSC came out after they'd already gone past the pit lane, so they didn't have that opportunity, and I think they might regret it, as Jonathan now right behind the Alpine is losing a lot of time through sector 1 as a result. 4 seconds up the road to JB at the moment, 4.5 now, as there's another big mistake. I wish Tier would pit to cover the undercut, says Scott. Me too, Scott, but he's still out there on those mediums. We've got yellow flag, that's Palang around, another VSC. So now this is the opportunity for those front runners who haven't pitted yet. Huge opportunity, as long as it doesn't get upgraded to a safety car. But surely those front runners pit now. They have to. I think it would be very foolish to stay out under this VSC now. They've got to take that opportunity. Tito's been given a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. That's his AI. So yeah, Tito surely into the pits. Yes, he does peel in. Lawrence as well. Robsu in the Aston Martin, quite a way behind now. He stays out. He stays out. That is certainly a decision. I think he might regret it. Jonathan gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits under the VSC. I'm not sure how he's managed that. He's gone on a drive-through. He's gone a drive-through for speeding as we go back to green flags. It's a drive-through penalty for Jonathan. It's a terrible, terrible day for the Ferrari driver. He's got to come in to serve that drive-through. He's going to be desperately hoping for a safety car now as Lawrence comes out just behind Wasted and Tier just ahead of them as well. But look how close this gap is now between Tier and Lawrence. Robsu now with an 11-second lead. But Lawrence, he's got to clear this Alpine as soon as he can. Wasted on 10 lap-old hard tyres. These two on fresh hards, of course, as they go through. But Lawrence losing a lot of time there as Wasted a bit slower than him through Sector 1. And Lawrence is going to make the move down the inside early on here. He's secured the DRS. He was behind at the DRS line. And that's a great, clever bit of racing from Lawrence to secure the DRS as well. And now 1.2 to Tier. And he's got the DRS. That gap's going to come all the way down. And we're going to have a battle for the net race lead here between Tier and Lawrence. This is going to be very close, I'm sure, as Lawrence goes very deep actually at that corner, loses quite a bit of time there. Carried an unexpected amount of speed with the DRS. As Tito getting past in his AI car. Mr. J-Man has a DRS as a result of the AI car though, but RJ doesn't care. He's going to go down the inside anyway. Jonathan somehow right behind them after that drive-through, so he's going to be looking to make a move as well in his Ferrari to try and recover. Lawrence with a 3-second time penalty as Robsu finally comes into the pits, but how much is that going to cost him having not pitted under the VSC? It's going to be quite a lot, I would have thought. He could drop all the way down to 6th here, I think. But Lawrence with a track limits penalty, and now Tier has got to do the impossible. He's got to keep it clean for the remainder of the race, and he's going to have a great chance to win this. Lap 12 of 28, though, with still a long way to go. Robsu has indeed dropped to P6. The prediction was spot on. It could be to P7 here, as Rutty Boy's going to have warmed up tyres compared to Robsu's cold hards as they go through Sector 1, but there's barely any place to overtake at this part of the track. Robsu understeering, as you can see on those cold tyres. Jonathan getting past Mr. J-Man further back. Robsu's just about stayed ahead for now, but Rutty Boy's going to have the DRS, and Robsu, I think, he didn't pit so he didn't double stack with Tier, but I think that was an error on his part. I think the double stack was worth it to get that pit stop under the VSC. Lawrence Penn is really too good for Tier. You're absolutely right. Yeah, the leader. So Robsu now getting passed by Rutty Boy down the inside. Goes the Alpine. These two racing for position. They've both had a pit stop. Rutty Boy makes the move stick, but Robsu's going to try and switch back on the exit, but can't quite make it work. And this track where you've got so little traction on the exit of corners, it's really, really difficult to make switchbacks work. Robsu's going to look to the inside though here as Rutty Boy takes the wide line, leaves him plenty of space. Good respectful racing between the two. But Rutty Boy stays ahead for now. Robsu with the switchback on this corner. What a move from the Finnish driver. Can he finish it off? Yes, he can. Round the outside. Incredible move from Robsu. Up to P6 again. But he's going to be fighting with this Alpine for quite some time, I think, as JB gets past Wasted for P3. And suddenly, what looked like a terrible race for the Red Bulls is turning into an incredible race. They're going to be 3 and 5 now. But Crozer 2 seconds behind Wasted, and is surely going to make that move soon. Wasted still yet to pit in that Alpine. I think he's going to regret that, waiting so long. But of course, he started on the hard, so he had no choice now that I think about it. So he's got to stay out. But yeah, he's definitely going to regret that tyre choice, I think, as Jonathan now gets past RJ for P9. As he continues on his recovery, but it's 5 seconds to Muhiti, and then 8 seconds to Rutty Boy. Now 9 seconds to Rutty Boy. So yeah, Jonathan got a lot of work to do to get himself further up the grid here, but that is what a disastrous race it's been for him. Hello, Louis, in the chat. Good to see you here as well. I keep getting when you say JB, is that because of the JB in DLR, I'm assuming? But Jonathan's going to be under pressure here again from RJ. It's close at the front as well, but they're not in the DRS straight at the moment, so I'm going to keep focused on these two. RJ with the DRS in his AlphaTauri down the inside of the Ferrari driver, the American up to P9 again, but Jonathan looking for the switchback, but again finds the same thing as Robsu, that you can't get the traction well enough to make it work, but RJ's very deep, and that opens the door for Jonathan, who says thank you very much, and back up to P9 he goes, but he's still got that 3-second track limits penalty, as he's got a 5-second gap to Muhiti now, which is he's going to be hoping for a safety car so he can get back into this one as Crows are down the inside of Wasted. Great stuff for him. Up to P4 goes the Red Bull driver. And it's a 3-4 for Red Bull. Meanwhile, Robsu down in P6, but Tier leading the race still as it stands. But Lawrence still just behind. Let's have a quick look at ERS. Lawrence with about 50%, Tier just about 40%. So they're very close on ERS as well. Robsu now gets a time penalty for track limits, and that could be costly for him as well. He's got Rutty Boy 3 seconds behind, but it's going to mean that he's not going to be able to challenge those Red Bulls as it stands, and he might have to settle for P5 here. LB is alive, which is incredible to see. I thought he was dead, but he is actually alive. He's here in the chat. Hello, LB. I heard that you had signal issues or something, so that's a shame that you couldn't be here today, but be good to see you on track next week. Palang up to P12, getting past Tito Man's AI. So Wasted still just about staying with those drivers ahead, but he's losing time quite a lot. Little Manny Man as well is alive as well, which is also great to see, after he unfortunately couldn't make it today. But Robsu should be able to make this move into turn 1, I would have thought. After that incredible move he made on the other Alpine a few laps ago. This should be a much more straightforward one for him. As they head round the final corner, no wheel spin on the exit for Robsu. Should get the move done here. DRS, ERS deployed as well. Down the inside goes Robsu for P5 in this race. He's got a time penalty, but Wasted still yet to pit. So Robsu up to P5, and I think that is where he'll stay unless there's any late drama in this race, as he does have that time penalty. But, well, as it stands, Aston Martin would gain, it's 20, 16, 14, 12, 11. So it would be 31 points for Aston Martin and 26 for Red Bull, so they gain another 5 points in the Constructors' Championship battle. But as it stands, Tier is going to take a monumental lead in the Drivers' Championship with only 2 rounds to go after this one. But of course, it's still a long way to go in this race. We're only halfway through, believe it or not. But Lawrence does have the DRS, but he does also have that time penalty. But he knows that Tier is just draining down his ERS. Still 30% on that Aston Martin, but it's draining down as he keeps Lawrence behind, and a bit of wheel spin on the exit. That corner is going to be difficult for the race leader to hold on to this one on track. But of course, Lawrence has that time penalty. If they weren't so close, I'd go and check how many warnings Tier has, but we'll just have to find out if he gets a penalty or not as they come around the final quarter. Lawrence much better on the brakes. Jonathan's still struggling to get past RJ here. I don't know what happened to him, because he was ahead of RJ and now he's behind again. So it must have been a mistake from the Ferrari driver. It's been a disaster for him this evening. Wasted up to into the pits finally on those hard tyres. He's going to be going mediums to the end, I would have thought. But he's going to drop all the way down, I think, to P11 here. Thanks to everyone being able to pit under the VSC. He might just come out ahead of Mr. J-Man, who had to repair damage earlier. I don't know how Muhiti's back up to P7, by the way. I don't know how that happened. He was last not long ago. But Tier now under pressure from Lawrence. Down the inside goes the Mercedes driver, and he's going to have the DRS on the exit as well. Tier follows along, a bit of contact between the two, but Lawrence is going to have the DRS down towards the next corner. It's a great move again. He repeated the move he did earlier on another driver. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Wasted that he did it to earlier on. And it's great, clever driving from Lawrence, but now he's got to pull a 3-second gap to the Aston Martin driver. As the two Red Bulls 9 seconds behind with Crozer. I'm sure he's going to be barking at JB for team orders here to let him through, because of course Crozer in the Drivers' Championship fight and JB isn't really. So I think we may see team orders between the two Red Bulls very shortly, and of course Robsu catching them as well. It's going to be tricky for them, but Rutty Boy getting passed by Muhiti a little further back. So Muhiti now up to P6. What a recovery this is from the Turkish driver as it stands, after crashing into a wall, losing his entire front wing. And we've got another VSC in the meantime. Palang has binned it again. Into the wall has gone the Haas driver, but it's only a VSC again. So no panic for those front runners. The top two, 12 seconds ahead of the Red Bulls, and then these three, 19 seconds ahead of Muhiti. This race has divided very nicely into 3 or 4 groups here, if you count Palang. Mr. J-Man now gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC, just to add insult to injury as he pits for fresh tyres. And, well, his race has not gone well, it has to be said, unfortunately. But into the pits he comes. He's going to have to serve the drive-through as well. He's going to be desperately hoping for a safety car now. But it's still a VSC out there for now. Is anyone else going to get a drive-through as it comes in, which I'm sure will be soon? Another penalty for Mr. J-Man as he crosses the white line and the exit of the pits. He is not having a good time out there at all as he goes around turn 1 now. Drive-through for Palang, who now pits, but the top two stay safe from a drive-through, but Tia's lost a few tenths under the VSC, and he's out of DRS range now of Lawrence, who's going to try and consolidate this lead over the next few laps and try and push on to secure that 3-second gap to the Aston Martin driver. He wants to win this race. The two Red Bulls still the same way around, but of course they didn't get a chance to swap because of the VSC, but now they've got Robsu right behind them. Maybe it's not a good idea to swap after all, but I think Crozer might get past just anyway now with the DRS down towards turn 1, gets a better exit out the final corner, but JB gets much better, but a bit of lag there, I think, causing some issues, but Crozer is past. Robsu too far away to do anything about it, or is he? It breaks very late into turn 1, nearly hits the back of JB, but he's going to be looking to pressure these Red Bulls now into a mistake or a track limits penalty of their own. Tia, by the way, is back in DRS range of Lawrence. There must have been some mistakes from the Mercedes through sector 1 as Robsu pushes JB through this first sector now. The Aston Martin driver looking to gain a few more positions for his team. And, well, if he can gain a position on the Red Bull, that's 2 points gained, of course, because the Red Bull goes down 1 as well. But down towards the DRS straight, there go. JB braking later than Robsu, but Robsu with the better exit. But they're both going to have DRS, so I don't think there's anything they can do. Tia right behind Lawrence on the final part of the straight, but doesn't make a move. Sensible driving from the championship leader as they head through the final sector now, and Robsu is past JB. He didn't need the extra DRS advantage. He's up to P4 now, and now looking to challenge Crozer for 3rd. Can he get himself on the podium? What a performance that would be if he can. There was a swap further back as well. I think that was RJ getting past Muhiti and Wasted not too far behind them as they all go very, very squirrely through there. That was very close to massive contact. RJ goes extremely deep and loses both places. And now Rutty Boy's up to P6. Muhiti's just behind. There's a bit of contact, I think, or maybe Rutty just lost it. And now Wasted's joined the party. Muhiti breaks late again and hits the back of the Alpine once again. And there's his round. Muhiti's round once again. Into the grass he goes. It's a disaster for him as Lawrence and Tia look to swap positions through turn 1. Lawrence stays ahead though, and Tia sensibly backs out. He does not want to repeat the fate of Finley Liverpool and Noise Job in Tier 1 on Friday, where they went side by side through there and both went into the wall. But RJ back up to P7. They're going to be nearly four abreast down towards turn 1. A bit of contact as Wasted tries to find his way through. Wasted down the inside, breaks late. RJ, though, gets the run around the outside, but goes wide, and this is going to invite Jonathan around the outside. All 4 of them fighting for position here. Jonathan desperate to get his way back up the grid after it's been a terrible race for him, but he's up to P8 now. RJ just behind, but he's still got that time penalty, has the Ferrari driver, so he's got to contend with that as well. As they all go through, he's going to try and go around the outside of Wasted and have the inside for the next corner. Very risky. Rutty Boy with another time penalty. He's up to 6 seconds now in his Alpine. So that's 1 place for Jonathan, but he's still got to get past Wasted and pull 3 seconds to him in order to gain that position. Tier 4 tenths behind Lawrence. He's still just sitting behind that Mercedes. It's sensible driving from Tier. He's not going to try and make the move on a driver with a time penalty, but Wasted down the inside of his teammate now up to P6. What a race this is turning out to be for Wasted. There's a bit of contact between the two as Rutty Boy turns in too early, and that invites Jonathan through up to P7. These 4 so close together. RJ trying to find his way through as well. He's got no time penalty on that AlphaTauri either as he sends it down the inside of Rutty Boy. Brilliant move from the American. Rutty a bit squirrely on the exit. Nearly goes into the side of the AlphaTauri. They're going to go through and RJ's going to go very deep there. As a result, that's a shame for him, but Wasted's got the fresh medium tyres as well. So he's got the advantage in tyres, but Jonathan has the advantage on raw pace between the two of them. So this is going to be an interesting battle, but Jonathan's got that penalty, and Wasted could be looking at a very, very good P6 here. A great result for him it would be, if he can hold on to it. But JB in P5 still trying to hold on to Robsu, but Robsu's just about dropped him out of DRS range. No, he hasn't. As they went across the line, it was just about within a second, but Robsu's going to have the DRS on the other Red Bull. Here comes Tier down the inside, round the outside of Lawrence, rather, as Lawrence defends to the inside. Tier sent round to the outside, but he's going to have the inside for the next corner as the Aston Martin driver, and Tier leads the American Grand Prix once again, but Lawrence is going to have the outside for the next corner. He has the inside for the previous corner. Tier a bit squirrely on the exit. He's got to be careful not to lose it in this battle here. As Robsu now getting past Crozer down the inside, he sends it into P3 goes the Aston Martin driver. It's an Aston Martin 2-3 at the moment, but Robsu still has that time penalty, so all Crozer's got to do is stay with him to keep that podium. Fantastic battles going on up and down the grid. RJ's gone off track. I'm not sure what happened there. I mean, he's gone all the way off track as Tier and Lawrence swap places again. Tier back up to P1 down the inside of the Mercedes into turn 1. Makes that move, but remember there's still that time penalty for Lawrence. Lawrence is going to keep it round the outside. He's going to keep it there. Surely not. Is he going to back out? No, he's not. They're still going to go side by side, but finally Lawrence backs out. That could have ended in tears through there, but Tier remains ahead. Get it, tears. I didn't even mean to do that. But I do apologise. Crozer in P4 is going to have the DRS on Robsu again as they go down that very long straight. And, well, Robsu's going to have his work cut out here to gain 3 seconds on either of these Red Bulls, because they're both going to have DRS from him. And it's great teamwork from the Red Bulls, but Robsu's doing his absolute best for the Aston Martin team to try and secure some extra points for them. Lawrence gets back past Tier as they swap once again with the DRS. Rutty Boy's retired. He's out of the race. Could that be a safety car? It's a virtual safety car. And did Tier overtake Lawrence in time? I'm not sure. I think the game's telling them both to let each other through, but I think Tier's eventually done the deed and let him through. It's only a virtual, no, it's a full safety car. It's a full safety car. Palang's gotten a drive through, but we've got a full safety car in this race with only 8 laps to go. And wow. This has changed very quickly. Rutty Boy DNFs in the S section. Out of the race, Lawrence heads into the pits. Tier heads in as well. They're going to be onto the soft tyres to the end. Tier does not get a speeding penalty, thank goodness for him. Robsu into the pits, Crozer in as well, but this is bad news for Robsu because he's going to have that time penalty on him. Tier into the pits for medium tyres. He's not gone for the softs. He doesn't think the softs are good enough to make it. He could be right here as well. But it's difficult to say. From my experience in the elite race, the softs will go quite a distance, but they do wear out quite quickly, and they're on par with the mediums fairly quickly. So this is going to be a fascinating strategy battle between these drivers. JB on the mediums as well. So Robsu and Lawrence, the only ones to go for the softs. Wasted's gone for the softs as well, as has Jonathan, who's back in this race in the meantime, in the Ferrari, and this is exactly what he needed. But Rutty Boy, unfortunately, with that DNF late in this race, he's going to be gutted. But Lawrence leads under the VSC, under the safety car, sorry, from Tier, with Crozer just behind them as well. Tier's got to be very careful now. Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look at the warnings. So Tier, He's got 2 warnings. He's got 2 warnings. He's got to be very, very careful. What about Crozer? He's also got 2 warnings. He's had an invalidated lap time there. I'm not sure what that's for. Yeah, it could be lap 1 contact as well. So let's have a look at incidents instead. So Crozer got a collision on lap 1. Yeah, collision warning. Tier though did get a track limits warning on lap 1. So he does have 2 warnings, does Tier, but Crozer only has 1, I think. I'm not sure about JB. I can't see anything for JB here. No, nothing for JB, but Crozer does have 2 warnings, I think, as well. But JB could really benefit here if everyone ahead gets a penalty. They're all on 2 warnings ahead of him, other than Robson and Lawrence, who've already got a penalty. So JB could stand to gain an awful lot here, as could Wasted in his Alpine. Only 6.5 laps to go. Well, 6 laps to go at the end of this one. And well, this is going to be a fascinating last few laps to this Grand Prix. As they all come to bear behind the safety car. Jonathan is back in this one. He's P7, but he does have that time penalty, but we know how much pace he's got. Mr. J-Man gets a time penalty under the safety car, which I think sums up his race today, really. It's not been a good day for the Belgian driver. It's not been a good day for Williams in general, really. Muhiti looks like he stayed out on his fresh mediums, which fair enough, I suppose, but he's going to be at a disadvantage. Is Palang going to be able to catch up as well? I'm not sure if he will, but he does have that drive-through anyway, if I remember rightly. Yeah, he does have a drive-through as well, so he's going to have to peel into the pits anyway after the safety car comes in. No, it's very close to the back of the safety car. He's got to be careful not to hit it and get disqualified, because that would not be ideal for him. But the tensions have risen. It is yet another late safety car in Tier 2. And just when we thought it was all consolidating, we were going to get those battles in those little groups up and down the grid, now it's really opened up for anyone to gain positions here. Tier, Crozer, JB and Wasted in the strongest positions with no track limits penalty. RJ as well, he hasn't got one either. Tudo Man is still just an AI, remember. I think Palang will be able to catch up here, but again, he's got that drive-through penalty anyway. But surely the safety car will be in this lap. It hasn't announced it's coming in yet, but I think once Palang catches up, it will announce it very quickly. But is Palang going to have time to catch up? I'm not sure. It's going to be very close. He's coming around the corner now. He's just 1 corner behind the safety car. Is it going to come in very late? It could well do. Lawrence has got to be on his toes here. He could announce it very, very late. Oh, he nearly hits the back of the safety car there. And yeah, it is in this lap. It's very, very late. So here we go. Lawrence going to come around the final corner. When is he going to punch? He's not got much time to decide when to do it. Palang has caught up. So the safety car into the pits. And Tier's got to try and get the best restart he can because he's going to be under pressure from Crozer. But he's hit the back of Lawrence as they go through the final corner. A bit of contact. And he's gotten a 5-second penalty for it. I don't know if he'll get that removed or not. But he's got that 5-second penalty. And now Crozer's going to go around the outside of his championship rival. Robson nearly into the back of him. Nearly into the back of him, further behind as well with Wasted. There's more position changes happening further back. Someone's gone round. That's Wasted out of the race. Oh no, what a shame for him. That's so unfortunate. But Lawrence continues to lead the Grand Prix. Is Tier going to get that penalty removed? That's the question. I don't know. JB has lost positions as well. He's got no end plate. Jonathan's dropping positions as well. What has happened between these two? The two Williams up to P6 and 7 now. Robsu in P4. Still, Crozer just sitting behind Tier in P3. Tier just about keeping up with Lawrence for now, but 4.5 laps to go. What is going on in its dying stages of this race? It's all come alive after that safety car at the end. Indeed, an Alpine disaster class. It was looking so good for them, but Rutty Boy out, causing the safety car, and now Wasted out as well. What happened to Wasted, I don't know. Whether he lost it or there was contact, I'm not sure. I hope there wasn't contact. But Lawrence still leads this race from 7 tenths to Tier, 6 tenths, 5 tenths now. It's Tito's AI driving out of his skin, it really is. But he's just been passed by JB, who's lost a lot of time thanks to that damage. It's another time penalty for Lawrence. He's got 6 seconds now on that Mercedes as Crozer right behind Tier as they file through towards turn 1 for the 25th time. Tier down the inside of the Mercedes driver. He's going to make this move into turn 1. Can he do it? There's contact and Tier's round. Oh no, I think he's only got himself to blame. He's got a time penalty as well, but Tier has all come apart for him in these last few laps. And I can't believe this. Wasted's left the discord, so there must have been contact. That's a shame for him. Muhitti's gotten a 3-second time penalty as well. Tier down to P5 as a result. He's got a time penalty as well. He's got 8 seconds on that Aston Martin now. Yellow flags further back. That's Palang, I think. JB's come into the pits as well as to repair that wing. But now Crozer looking to win this race out of nowhere. He's got the DRS on Lawrence. It's all come alive here. No, he's not got the DRS yet, but Crozer into the lead of the American Grand Prix. Robsu looking to take P2 in the meantime. Can he make the move? Brakes late, and he's nearly hits the side of Crozer in the meantime as well. Lawrence has the inside again for the next corner and retakes the place, but Tier now has got to find his way past the American of RJ as they come through the final sector. Now Tier is going to get hit by Muhitti. Somehow holds onto the car. Muhitti with his heart in his mouth there, it must have been, as they all file through. But 25 of 28, it's going to be 26 of 28 after this one. Just 3 laps to go. Jonathan trying to find a way past Muhitti in the meantime as well for P6. As Raj's gone very deep. Tier with a huge snap on the exit. Can he find his way past the AlphaTauri down towards turn 1? He's using the ERS to try it, and he sends it down the inside. Surely that move is going to be done for Tier back up to P4, but he does have all those penalties on that car. Muhitti nearly getting passed by Jonathan, but managing to hold it around the outside of turn 1. Tier still holding on to P4 for now. RJ with no time penalties either on that car, but Crozer in the lead of this race with no time penalties. It's a dream scenario for Crozer. JB's down to P10 though, so disaster for Red Bull on his terms, but Robsu now down the inside of Lawrence to try and take P2 for Aston. A bit of contact as they go through, I think. Robsu's got the inside now as they head down towards the next corner. Who's going to have the DRS? It's going to be Robsu. Lawrence doesn't have it. I don't know why he doesn't have it. He wasn't close enough to Crozer, obviously. But now Tier's going to try and fight his way back onto the podium again as well. Lawrence down the inside, though he sends it anyway, but doesn't make the move stick. And Robsu stays ahead up to P2. Let's put penalties on the board. Robsu with 3, Lawrence with 6, Tier with 8, but I don't know how many of them are going to stand after stewards. It's going to be really interesting. Lawrence with 3 as well. Sorry, Jonathan with 3 as well. RJ with nothing. He's going to jump up. Nearly, I think he might jump up to the podium here, my RJ. With no time penalties. Keeping it clean is really paying off. Robsu now with 6 seconds as well. Jonathan's going to find his way onto the podium somehow. As it stands, cannot believe this. Tier with the fastest lap. Jonathan now with the fastest lap as Tier gets back past Lawrence for P3. In the meantime, Aston Martin 2-3, but for those penalties, it's a huge snap on the exit of turn 1, somehow holds on to it. Crozer with a 1.4 second lead over Robsy, who's got 6 seconds of penalties as well. Tier with 8 seconds, 2 laps to go in this Grand Prix. What more drama is going to happen here? Jonathan, is he going to have the DRS on Lawrence? He is, but is he going to be able to make the move is the question. They're both on the softs. JB now sets the fastest lap for Red Bull. That's a crucial extra point for them. Jonathan nearly into the back of Lawrence as they head down to that corner. That was very, very close, but they're both going to have DRS now. Down this long straight. Does Lawrence have any ERS left? No, he doesn't. So this is a huge opportunity for the Ferrari driver to get past, but he doesn't use his overtake. He doesn't want to make the move yet. Lawrence looks to the inside, doesn't quite make it. Who's Tier's championship rivals? Lawrence and Crozer. And also Jonathan 10 points behind, but or 12 points behind. But Jonathan can't quite make the move on Lawrence, but now he knows the Mercedes is vulnerable, so he's surely going to make the move onto the final lap. If he can get onto P4, he's already got it thanks to penalties, but how costly is that going to be? RJ now is falling back behind those ones with penalties. He's still just behind Muhiti, but Muhiti's costing him time here to try and stay with those front runners to get himself a shock podium. Lawrence is on track for a shock podium as well after seemingly everything has gone wrong for him this race. A safety car saves him right at the end. We're on to the final lap. That's a very wide line for Lawrence. Jonathan sends it down the inside as a result, as they're going to go side by side through the S's. These two have battled long and hard this season, and they're still side by side through the S's now. Lawrence goes off. Jonathan is ahead now. Up to P4 he goes. He's 2 seconds back from Tier, but that gap's going to come down. Tier's going to have the DRS on Robsu. We still don't know if those penalties are going to get removed for the Aston Martin driver. We'll have to see in stewards later, but I've got to call what I see, and Tier has 8 seconds. As it stands, Crozer is going to win this race by 2.5 seconds after all of that. A hugely drama-filled ending to this American Grand Prix right at the end of the season as well. Only 2 rounds to go after this. Robsu and Tier both out of energy as well. But they're still looking fairly strong, but I don't think Robsu's going to pull the 3 seconds he needs to Jonathan to keep him off the podium. Lawrence is there as well in his Mercedes, but can't quite get the move back done on the Ferrari. Muhiti's just about to P6. Mr. J-Man's gone up to P7 in the meantime, but RJ still has no penalty, so where is he going to be at the end? I'm not sure, but it's going to be Crozer who comes round the final corner after a chaotic, drama-filled Grand Prix. He's stayed true, stayed on the track, and he wins the American Grand Prix. Robsu finishes second on track, but it's down to third after penalties. Jonathan finishes P2 somehow after everything goes wrong. Tier drops to P8 after penalties, but well, if he gets all of them removed, it'll be up to P2, but we'll see what the stewards think about it. Tito Man's AI is going to finish P9. JB is going to finish P10 after all of that. Such a shame for him. Palang's going to finish a long way behind, but an absolutely chaotic Grand Prix. RJ finishes P4 after all is said and done with the penalties. But wow, what an incredible race that was. Palang's going to come to the line and finish in 11th. Well, 10th after Tito Man's AI gets removed. But man, what a race. RJ 1/10 off the podium. He's going to be so annoyed about that one. But an absolutely chaotic race at the end. It was looking like an incredibly clean and exciting race with 3 main groups of cars throughout the race. It was looking like a fantastic battle for the lead as well, and then the safety car came out at the end and everything descended into absolute chaos. Wow. What a race here in Texas. Is Crozer, who is the winner today. He's going to be wondering how on earth it happened, and I think we are too. Jonathan, again, he's going to wonder how on earth he's P2. I think he had a drive-through. He got taken out as well. No, he took himself out, really. And then there was more contact as well, and then he got a drive-through for VSC. He got a 3-second penalty as well, and somehow he's ended up second. Robsu finishes third on the podium as well. RJ just a 10th behind in P4. Lawrence P5. Mr. J-Man and Muhiti in P6 and 7 in the end for Williams. Tier down in P8, but I don't know if that will stand. Tito's AI in P9, JB P10, Palang P11, and the 2 Alpines out of the race. Louis absolutely right. What a crazy race that was. And, well, let's see what they have to say in the interview room. I'm just going to beckon them into the interview room. So sorry to blue screen you. Jonathan's in. Who came third again? It was Robsu. Robsu's in, so we're just waiting for Crozer. Sorry for Crozer, give him another couple of minutes. Give him until the clock hits 51. All right, well, 51. So I will start with our P2 man. I think he's going to be as confused as the rest of us as to how he's here. But Jonathan, well, it seemed like everything went wrong one after the other for you that race, and somehow you're here on the podium. So talk us through it.
Yeah, I don't really know how I'm here, to be honest. The lap one, Lawrence got a good start, and I was kind of just pushed a little bit off the track. Like, it's just, like, it's not like he did anything wrong, but ended up going down to P3, then I had a moment down to P4, and then I don't really know what happened in sector 3. You probably got a better view than I did.
It was three wide, and you expected it to only be 2, so you turned in, and then there was no space for the others. So
fair enough. So yeah, that was me down to last. Then the VSC came out, and I kind of decided to pit and hope I can undercut people ahead and get back into it. But then the other VSC came out, and everyone pit again. and I think that's when I got the drive to, because it didn't come up on my screen saying it was ending.
Ah, right. Yeah, that's
So I
happened to
was
me
like,
before
and
as
it was
well.
only like very slightly as well. I was like a less than a tenth. Yeah, I was kind of praying for a safety car, which luckily it came out late on. And even then, I had that penalty, which I thought would stop me getting up there. But I think, yeah, that's probably the best P2 I'll ever get, with considering circumstances.
Yeah, I think that is certainly the luckiest P2 you'll ever get. But I mean, it's still a good recovery drive. After everything goes wrong like that, it's easy to lose your head and just not be in the game when it does come your way later on. So good on you for sticking with it. And well, a podium for you today. It depends if Tia gets his penalties removed. I'm not sure if he will. But if he does, you might get knocked down to third in the end, but we will see
Yeah.
about that.
I think I might be able to get my penalty removed. I'll have to check, but we'll see.
Well, still a great P2 for you, and well, you'll be hoping you'll be back on the podium again next week, but in slightly more calming circumstances, I think.
Yes. Thank you for the comms as well. Good. I heard it throughout the race. Kind of had it on in the background there. So, yeah, well done.
No problem. Well, we come to our race winner, Crozer, and I think as well, not quite as much as Jonathan, but he's still going to be quite flabbergasted as to how he is on the top step of the podium. So Crozer, well, talk us through that one. What a race, and you find yourself in P1.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit lucky there, but you've got to take your chances, haven't you? So if they didn't all get penalties and I didn't have any from whatever it was for, I don't know what Tier got all his build up from, and I assume Robsu and Lawrence got theirs through track limits. So
Yeah.
I just tried to keep it clean and keep consistent. Like I try that every week, and yeah, sometimes it gets me on the top step through penalties, sometimes it doesn't. But I felt like I had enough pace to stick with people when I was behind them, and enough to give them a battle. But I think Tier and Lawrence at the start kind of just kept breaking away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an enjoyable race. Safety cars always throw a bit of a spanner in the works wherever we race, and it's obviously no different here today. So whether it's a virtual safety car and people box earlier and go for a bit of an undercut, or whether it was the full safety car at the end again, which it seems to be quite a lot recently.
Yeah.
It always seems to throw a bit up in the air, and I said to JB said to me, before the race, that if we can keep it clean, then penalties might bring us into it for the points, and he was right, obviously. So
yeah, well, it was a shame for JB at the end there, but you came through and won the race in his honour, I suppose, and with a 2.5 second gap as well, just kept it on. So it was a fantastic performance from you at the end. But tell me, under the I think the second VSC when everyone came in, the first VSC when everyone came in, were you considering your options at that point? Because obviously you'd already gone past the pit lane with JB, if I remember rightly. So were you just thinking to hope for another safety car and pit under that, or were you just going to stick to the strategy?
Well, the first one came out, I think, about lap 7, and obviously with the virtual, you do save the time.
Yeah.
But I thought if I boxed then, that was probably about 5 laps too early for where I wanted, maybe 6, if I could have pushed the mediums out a bit. And I thought, come the end of the race, if there's no other safety cars and tyre dead comes into play, 6 laps is a lot on any tyre. So if people were boxing onto hards and taking them to the end, obviously I know you can, but I'd rather have slightly fresher hards at the end to push. and I felt like I was using my ERS well. I felt like I was managing that well, saving when I could, and using at points when I needed to. So I just thought, stick to the strat. There's no point rushing to come in. But then when the second one obviously came out, it would have been silly not to, because it kind of covered my bases and gave me a few laps extra tyre life. So yeah, it was like I said before, all the virtual safety cars and when the safety car comes out, they play a massive part in where you finish in Tier 2. Just because they always seem to come out at different stages of the race. People have different amounts of penalties, and you almost have to be in the right place at the right time. Maybe like Jonathan was today, to get from wherever you can be. Sometimes you see people go from like 11th on a kind of final 5-10 lap safety car right up onto the podium. So I think this league, you have to be on your toes, you have to be thinking a lot, and you also have to have a bit of luck on your side to kind of get in the right place with the safety cars.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And well, you will take the championship lead no matter what happens with Tia's penalties, because he will at best finish P2. So back in the championship lead, 2 rounds to go. Are the nerves now setting in after that Singapore DNF cut your lead down, or are you just trying to get those thoughts away and race like it's a normal race?
No, I'm not nervous. I just enjoy coming racing. I enjoy being able to battle against everyone else, and it's nice when you get kind of the same people turning up, same people putting in the effort. It's obviously racing against real people around the world is 100 times better than racing against the AI. So I'm just here for the enjoyment. If at the end of the day I don't know where I can finish if I DNF in the rest of the races, but say if I finish 8th in the championship, so be it. I've finished worse off in the last couple of seasons, and I'm sure I'll finish off worse off again. So I'm just here for the fun. I enjoy coming every Tuesday, and that's just how I see it at the minute.
Oh, fair enough. Well, it's been a fantastic season from yourself, and well, 2 rounds to go. It's still very much all to play for between, I think, really all 4 of you realistically. So just keep it clean. It would be my estimation of it.
Yeah, I'll try. But thanks again for the comms, and thanks again for organising all the bits you do in the league.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's my pleasure. Well, we'll move on to Robsu finally in P3. Well, a very topsy-turvy race for you. And well, talk us through it. It's P3 in the end, but I think it could be P4 after Tia, if Tia gets his penalty removed, but either way, I think it's a good performance from you in the end.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how much there is to say. Well, qualifying wasn't ideal. I ran out of time, and well, the race was pretty lonely at some point. But I was just trying to keep focus on staying a bit between the lines and try not to screw up my own race, basically.
Yeah, well, you did a good job at keeping up and keeping that Aston Martin Constructors title fight alive. But I just want to talk about that part of the race where I think it was the second VSC came out, and Tia came in and you didn't. Was that just to not get double stacked, or was there another reason for it?
No, it was exactly double stacking reasons. I just thought that there's no point going there and wasting so much time there. So
yeah, well, fair enough. I don't know. At the time, I thought it was a mistake, but considering you caught back up to the Red Bulls and you had 1 lap fresh tyres, and you seemed like really on the pace there. Last safety car kind of ruined your charge, and brought everyone back into it, but still you kept it together. So well done for that. What were you thinking at that last safety car? Were you just thinking to try and get all the way up onto the podium again, or was it just keep it clean and don't get taken out or go into the wall?
Well, it was mainly keeping it safe, but then again, I knew I had a fresh set of soft tires, so I thought that there could be a minimal chance for a podium, and well, right now it looks like it, so bit of a surprising actually, but I'll take it.
Well, here you are, and it's another great performance from yourself. It's a shame how this season has gone for you. Really, I could really see you fighting for the title if you hadn't had to miss a couple of races and had that misfortune at Vegas as well. But still, fantastic season from you so far. And are you thinking about the constructors? Are you talking with Tia about trying to take it off Red Bull, or is it just very chill at the moment, just trying to secure the best places you can?
Well, it's both actually, I think. Yeah, we haven't talked that much actually even, and well, it's been just I even actually haven't looked at the constructors, but
well,
so,
it's
yeah,
before this race you were 12 points behind Red Bull. After this race, it will probably be a fairly similar gap, I think. So still all to play for.
Yeah, looks like it.
Well, another great performance from you, Robsy. And good to see some sort of other country representation among the sea of Brits in Tier 2. So well done on another podium, and see you next week for, where are we heading? Canada. So
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So that is it for your Tier 2 race today. Obviously no Sumo here today, but I think he'll be back next week for Canada. So we'll be back with the Dream Duo for the last 2 rounds. But in the meantime, I will update those standings pretty shortly, and it's been a fantastic, chaotic race at the end. But congratulations to everyone involved. But for now, I have been Ghost. Hope you all have a great night and rest of your week, and goodbye.